later, probably next week. And I'll start sharing my slides. This will give another chance to others to connect. So hi everyone, great to see you again for this month session for our monthly Rapido update. And what we will be covering today is, as we try always to cover the Rapido community, I want to give a glance to the Rapido May release and also talk a little bit about frequent go live topics, which we've stumbled upon. And as always, they might be not relevant for everyone here, since we have a combination of participants, as far as I could see in the list, from already long-time Rapido customers. Some are not Rapido customers, and some are just starting the process. So, so there's a little combination here of some for advanced, the May release might be for advanced Rapido users, and the go live topics a little bit more basic information. But let's start, of course, with the community update. So I'm really, really glad to welcome our new live customers. Actually, we have a new live customer today from North America as we speak. So we're really, really happy. And we had some other live customers this month in other areas of the world. So that's fantastic. I'm really happy to update on that. And of course, in resource sharing, every new customer is really fantastic to have. Beyond that, the community continues to grow, and I'm really happy to also update on this. Beyond new customers in the areas that maybe you already know where Rapido started or has been growing, North America, both in the US and Canada, and also we have a big community in Switzerland and also Australia. So now the community is starting to grow in the UK. So we have new customers in the UK, which is also really, really great news. And there's been a lot of interest from other countries and other regions. So fantastic momentum for Rapido. As I've been mentioned already, the Rapido working group is actually already at a very advanced phase, and we're starting the process of with the group hasn't yet launched, but we're starting also to think about the nurse and how this is going to work. So please stay tuned and maybe connected to this. As you know, Eluna is going to happen pretty soon, not this week, next week, but the following week. But you've seen announcements. And there is a resource sharing session during Eluna. I will be there presenting Rapido, and others will be there. So I really invite you to sign up. It's for free. It's still remote, so anyone can really attend. And I really invite you to be there. And I know that we're also going to talk to formally launch the Rapido working group there. So I invite you to attend those sessions. Okay, so with this, with the Rapido community update, let's move into our highlights for the May release. And I want to start with something related to the user experience. So for those of you that have started Rapido or are already live in Rapido or have heard about Rapido, a big portion of the resource sharing, the difference in this product and other products of resource sharing is the discovery experience of the user. So as you know, a user goes into the discovery system of the library that he knows, he performs his searches there. If he doesn't find a resource, the next thing he does is expand beyond his library through the resource, through a link, and he will see more resources and the Rapido offers and all of this experience. The development that we're bringing this with the May release is something we heard from our Rapido about to go live users. I hope they're here also hearing this session. And the idea is that there are some situations, there are various, the idea behind this development is related to two different situations. One situation is there might be cases where different libraries, I'll call them institutions as such, with a building, etc., might be for some reason be sharing an IC, an ALMA IC. One of the libraries or institutions, real institutions, not ALMA institutions, has acquired Rapido and the other hasn't. So how do we control the discovery views in order to present to those real institutions that are using Rapido, present the Rapido experience, while those users of the other real institution that are not using Rapido continue to use the system as before the implementation of Rapido. So this development comes to give answers to this specific scenario. But also we have another scenario where in a particular view or slot that you have, you don't want to show for some reason the expand to Rapido. So we'll be covering these two issues, and I forgot to mention at the beginning of this session that, of course, I'll leave time for questions. So I think my next stop will be after we finish the May release, and we'll pause for a minute, and we can hear your questions. Okay, so what we've added under the discovery configuration, there has always been the configure views. And I'm looking here at my list of views, and I have this particular view. And if I edit it, you can see here that we've added a new checkbox, display Rapido functionality. So before everyone, our live customers start thinking of, oh my God, what is going to happen for me now? So nothing, I'll start with that. I'll explain what this is, but for live customers, we've enabled this by default. So so the way your system is behaving today will continue to behave the same way. The idea here is that while you're going through the implementation process, while you're working, starting to pull up your Rapido, one of the things you will be needing to do is check this checkbox for those views where you want Rapido. For live customers, we will do this as part of the release, so there's no need for you to fear the release or need to do any manual work for it. So we will do this for you. But for those that are going live in Rapido as part of the whole process of onboarding and discussing the views and the slots and the whole discovery configuration required, you will need to check this box for those views. So as you can see here, the wording is very general, display Rapido functionality, which means that it's not only the expand link that will not be shown, but also there will be no Rapido offers. Anything that is related to Rapido will not appear here. So this is covering that specific need for those institutions that are sharing an ALMA institution, but not everyone has Rapido. Okay, and here when we look at the different slots that are per view, let's say that you've enabled the Rapido functionality, but you have a special view where you don't want to show the expand link, like in a course reading list or something like that, or something else, some kind of a very specific slot that you've created for course reserves. That's the example, not the course reading, for course reserves. So in this case, you can just go into that very specific slot and select the hide Rapido expanding, meaning when the user search in this particular slot, if you don't want to have that link beyond my library search shown, you can hide it using this checkbox. Okay, so two different levels, controlling the discovery for Rapido customers, or a combination of Rapido customers and non-Rapido customers in an institution. All right, moving forward to another focus of ours when we think about development, and this is related to staff efficiencies or how the system works for the staff. We're going to discuss here a development that is a completion, maybe it's completing a development that we already had. So I want to remind you that the field locally action that was done for the library to be able to use Rapido to supply materials owned by the library or that were found in some way and the library has them and you want to fulfill the request by yourself by creating the borrowing, and creating the borrowing request and the lending request in the same library. We still had a portion missing here for those libraries that have multiple resource sharing libraries. And the idea here is to really make this as efficient as possible. So before this release, the May release, in the case of multiple resource sharing libraries, the lending request would be created in the same resource sharing library where the borrowing request was created. From this release, for this specific action, the field locally, the lending request will be created in the resource sharing associated to the owning library of that resource. So again, it's creating the request still in your institution, but it's creating the lending request from the resource sharing library that can really manage this particular request. All right, okay. To the next one. Okay, this one is a cool, actually this includes a number of developments that we did in this release, and it includes new term pods, new terms for pods. Each, they're a little bit different each, the two last ones are related, and I just want to mention before I go into the details of this is that none of our existing pods have this information. I'll be talking a lot about if you do have it, what type of configuration you need to do. But at this stage of Rapido, we don't have a pod that has these terms. But of course, we can engage in a conversation with those existing pods if you want to or need to add this. For new pods that we create, we will always make sure that we ask or we discuss at the time of the creation regarding this particular term. So if we were, just to make it clear to everyone, in the past, when we created the USA pod, we asked you guys what would be a good delivery time for the USA. We discussed the loan period. We discussed whether there was renew or no. In the future, we will need to discuss these three new parameters. So the first one is expiration date in days, and this is calendar days. I'll explain what it means. The number of renewals allowed. So if you had allowed renewals, we can actually now say what is the number of renewals. I think actually I had a discussion with the Canadian team, and I think we did get into a, if I'm not mistaken, but we did have like 1 day or 2 renewals. I don't remember. Two renewals, number of renewals. I can't remember, but there has already been a discussion on this. And the last one is related, of course, to the whole renewal workflow, and is whether the pod allows automatic renewals. And of course, this comes from the lending side. But the idea behind having this at the pod level is that everyone agrees that this could be the way of managing renewals so that it makes the whole workflow more efficient. So let's take a look at an offer. So I'm here looking for a book, and I didn't find it on my library, and I'm going into Rapido and I find it there, and I have a proposal for get the book in 7 days and keep it for 112 days. Okay, so let's go now and take a look. I'll tell you where this falls. If we take a look at the physical items lending policies, you can see just by guessing that this fell under the normal loan United States that has 7 days delivery and 112 period. And I can see here that, again, don't panic. This is not production. This is my my demo setup. So again, not a real pod. And what I have set it up is to allow renewals, maximum number of renewals too, and also expiry days, 3 days. And you cannot see here whether it's automatically renewed. I can tell you because I know that it's not. But of course, you can, if you're asking yourselves, how can I see this? How can I see this column? Of course, I just need to use the little wheel for configuration to decide whether you want it or not to see it. I decided not to, but I know that this is this doesn't have the automatic renewals. Okay, let's take a look at the staff interface for a second. So I'm here at borrowing request. So I'm looking at my borrowing request. And you can see here that under pod information, we're now giving, of course, visibility to the new terms that are available. Okay, so you can see here, allow renewal, yes, maximum number of renewals, 2, allow automatic renewals, no, expiry time, 3 days. Okay, so you have full visibility. We don't have this at this version. We need to work this. We're working on this already for a future version, very close version. Of course, all of this information will go into analytics as well. From the lending side of things, now I want us to look at the lending side of things. You can see as well that all of the information is here, so you can view it. And I also want you to take a look at how I actually am looking at this particular request that I created. So I have here my facets, and this is being facet by activity active, updated yesterday, and expiration date. So there is a new facet. These are the values of the facet, which of course has means that you can create sets for this request. And in addition to that, I just wanted to mention that as part of this development, we have added a new out-of-the-box set. Of course, it comes disabled. If you want to enable it in order to not create the sets by yourself, you can enable it. But still, you know that creating sets in Rapido is pretty easy. So please go ahead and either use the out-of-the-box or not. Again, all of what we're talking now, it's really theoretical because there's no we haven't added this information to any pod. So really, it's for now, it's only theoretical information. But let's talk I do want to cover a little bit more of on the different configurations that are required for these 3 new options. So this is what I want to share with you. So we have the information, everything's documented, so but you have it fresh on your mind. There are a few configurations that do need to be done once this information is part of the pod. These terms are part of the pod. The first one that I'm showing here is that for the renew to be able to, the automatic renew to be able to happen, there is a automatic loan renewal, auto loan renewals rules. And here I've selected a default one, so I don't have an input parameters like user groups, etc. But the auto renewal has to be set to true for this to be enabled, the automatic renewals. And 2 more things that are related are for the renewals. There is a job that performs also the renewals for fulfillment, regular fulfillment activities. For in order for this to happen automatically, you also need to check this box of allow renewal for Rapido pod request. Again, if you go and do this now in your library, this won't have any effect because you don't have pods that have these terms, but I do want you to know, to be aware of it. And regarding back to the expiry date and the lending, of course, what we want to see here maybe is the option that if the pod has the expiry days, also to be able to reject the lending when the expiry date is met, you need to set the job, the expired resource sharing request to active, so that the lending requests are actually they're actually rejected once the lending period occurs. Of course, I don't want you to run into the option of letting requests to be automatically rejected. We want to fulfill for our community. And again, these options are yet not implemented in any pod. So we can either engage in a discussion later, or if there are sites that are interested that are part of a pod, we can discuss how to implement the new terms that I'm presenting to you today. Okay, a little bit complex, but we're done with it. Okay, let's move to analytics. Again, a lot of effort on analytics, trying to see how the system is performing for you. So at the development, we have this release for analytics is the request type field. This field has now 3 different options to enable you to understand the different requests types from the borrowing side. So it's very clear you have physical request and you have digital ILL. Actually, what I want to talk about is these 2 digitals, okay? So you have digital ILL, which means that this is a document delivery for resources not held in the library. And for those of you that are doing also document delivery for held resources in the library, we now have the digital document delivery, so you can identify the differences between them. By the way, there is another value. I forgot to mention it. Maybe I didn't have it in my example here of analytics, but there's another one, another value, other, which is for physical non-returnable. This is the 4th option that we have here. Other, it's actually physical non-returnable. All right, I'm moving forward. I know there might be questions. We're pretty soon getting there. Of course, the Rapido ecosystem, you know, we really, I don't know how to call it. It's more than a pillar. We really want you to be able to do resource sharing with any type of partners that you have, keeping Rapido as open as possible. And we have here 2 developments. I have here 2 developments to talk about. The first one is actually the basis for a development, and it's an agreement. You can find the documentation, and also you can find it in the highlights that we released, but I want to explain it here on detail, and I'm pretty sure there might be questions on this. So just to summarize this resource sharing agreement, first of all, you can see here where these agreements are located. So there are many agreements there. A few agreements, not many, but there's a few agreements under configuration, general configuration, the data sharing profile. Under the data sharing profile, there's a new section. No worries, by default is no. Of course, I've set it to yes, because this is my expectation from you guys. I'm already preparing you. And this new agreement, of course, you can read it, but I want to summarize it. It's you're confirming here that you can make visible holdings information from your institution that will be used for the purposes that will show availability and requestability of items for resource sharing. Okay, this is so making visible your holdings. Now, I do want to talk a little bit about this development, and also explain to you the basis of it. So what happens, what is the workflow of a librarian in general when we've checked all of the pods and all of the rotas and all of the partners that we have defined, and no one has the resource, and we don't have a last resource, we're not using another system, we don't want to push the request into another system for checking. What usually libraries do, they go out of Rapido, of Alma, they leave the system, they go and check the OCLC holdings, they go into the discovery system, which is usually open of other institutions, and they start one by one trying to contact them and trying to get this information. But actually, both the ALMA and Rapido assets are very, very, very strong. We do have a very big community here if we sum up everything. We are coming up with a development, Rapido as a broker. You know that Rapido, beyond being a management system, is a broker. Rapido as a broker wants to give you visibility of holdings. And of course we can do this, but we cannot do it without the agreement. So here is my, my plead for you guys. And it's both if there are ALMA customers here, we will continue to talk about this also in Luna, by the way, and with whomever I talk. ALMA customers, Rapido customers, it's relevant also for Rapido customers. Please, once the May release is open, go to this place, consider this, and mark it as yes. The meaning for Rapido, and we'll talk this in our next meetings, because we're coming up with a very big development. I hope it will be ready. It is in the works, so it will be ready for one of the next releases, is a borrowing request that actually doesn't find a partner. And when this happens, you will have a new action, yes, that will enable you to open up a window that will take all of this metadata that has been provided by your user when selecting the get it for me and providing the and creating the borrowing request. It will check on all of the institutions that have marked this as yes, this statement as yes, to see if the resource is there. Again, nothing will happen. You cannot start doing resource sharing just as that. I would love if this could happen, but it will show all of the institutions that have agreed to this. It will show it who holds the resource. Now, this is important because it's beyond just looking at one institution at the time. It's looking at the whole picture of all of the institutions that have enabled this. And from there, the idea is that this is not the end of the functionality, that if you've added, if this partner has added themselves to the directory, we will have further functionality that you can send an email to that institution and say, hey, would you be willing to provide a resource, select those that in terms of regionality fit you better, and actually start enlarging your networks of resource sharing also via this mechanism. And also we have plans to make this easier and easier as more partners, more institutions enable themselves in the directory, more institutions sign this agreement, we will be able to provide more functionality based in that, something like sending an email and being able the lender to just click on something and the partner is downloaded and the lending request is created. I don't know, I'm trying to be here innovative. So again, there are two tasks from me to you today. First task is your own institution, marking this as yes. And the second task is talking to your friends and asking them to set this to yes. So I'm giving you homework here, but this is the idea behind this resource sharing agreement. Okay, for last resort type of borrowing requests that were moved to Iliad, there is an Iliad API that we make use of. But notes were not moved along in this API. And we've also changed the way we communicate with this API. And now borrowing notes are also moved along and pushed to the borrowing request that is created in Iliad. So another step forward to more integrations. Okay, this is the place where I'm going to stop sharing for a second. Taking a look at the chat, there are two options here. I will let you select. You can either send me a chat with your questions, or you can, and I see their questions, so I'm going to try to see if I can read them. And I will also, if you want to just talk, please do raise your hand and I can unmute you for a second. I don't need to unmute all of you as I was doing before. So a more gentle approach. So yes, I have here a confirmation. This is what I remember. Thank you, Becky, for confirming that the Canadian pod have requested one renewal. And I think we've updated the pod, I hope, and I know, I believe that our team is here hearing this, but if not, we will update this to be one. And just Becky and the Canadians here, just take into account that maybe you want to allow the auto renewals. And if you do want to allow the auto renewals, you just need to mind the configuration that is needed, the job that will do it, and also that auto renewal rule that needs to be added. Pretty simple steps. Also, if you need help, we can help. Okay, there's a question of when we will see lending fill rate and lending reject reasons. I think the lending reject reason is coming up in one of our close release. Lending fill rate, I think you can already, I'm not really sure, but I believe you can already do that in analytics. I just want to remind you that I know that the reject reasons are coming up. I think that the lending fill rate you can already do, if I'm not wrong. I do want to mention that there is the nice thing about analytics, adding things to analytics, is that you can do more with what you have. The second thing is that I believe that usually it's populated only for new requests, but maybe I'm wrong on that one. Okay. Okay, there's a question whether the data sharing functionality will be limited to Rapido or will it work with regular ARMA resource sharing? So I have to say that at this point, it's only Rapido. What I just mentioned about this development, it's part of the brokering capabilities of Rapido. But the statement, if you read it, has the potential to, if something changes in ALMA, or if we can do it in ALMA or something like that, has a potential to be used also in a future ALMA development. At the moment, no. And again, this is tied to the brokering functionalities of ALMA, so of Rapido. So for now, this is where it will be at least now used. And again, this is an infrastructure tool. I don't know what will happen with it. I still very highly recommend, as we're also saying we're talking to people that are adding themselves to the directory or institutions that are interested. I think this is a general effort that the community should do, and the same with the statement. I don't see why there should be a problem. Everyone's going out and checking what are your holdings anyways, either through discovery or through other ways. So I really encourage you to do sign it, and of course the new functionality in Rapido is going to really help the Rapido community enlarge their networks. Okay, this I think these are the chats that I had, the questions in the chat. So I will pause for a second just to see if there are more questions, if someone wants to raise a hand or ask something. And if not, we will continue to our frequently going live frequent asked questions. Okay, for now, there is one. Will the new pod term for expiry time include weekend days? Excellent question, Rachel. This was asked by your Australian friends as well. So the answer is that today, no, it includes weekends. So we have a future development to not include weekends in the roadmap. Okay, now it doesn't, but I think that it's still okay to run it, because let's say if we decide for a 3-day, I don't know, you need to think about it again. The terms are owned by the community in general. But let's say if we go for 3 days or something like that, you will still be able after the weekend to see what's expiring pretty soon, and then check those by creating, like I showed, creating those sets and working on them. Today there's nothing, right? So they might stay there forever. So I think it's a big improvement in any case, even if we add this, just for you to manage them through the Rapido sets, and not let them stay there forever. I know this doesn't happen, but it will give you still the tool to manage those that are waiting for you for a while, even though it includes weekend days. It's an indication now. You can work at it as an indication and still use that job that I mentioned that can reject them if you've reached that date. All right, so for now, I'm going to move to the frequently asked questions. And again, I do, even though these are pretty basic topics for those of you that are live for a while, I do think it's important that we take a fresh view on them. And I also want to share with you something interesting with a meeting I had with a customer, and I think this was an interesting meeting in terms of how different institutions do different stuff. Okay, so I'm going to reshare. Here we go. And actually, this is one of my favorite topics in Rapido. When to present Rapido offers, how you control them, etc. Really like this functionality. So we're talking about the display logic rules. This is how you use, how you work in also in Alma to hide services. And so we have here a little summary of those display logic rules that are relevant for Rapido. And we have 4 relevant DLRing, display logic rules. One is the resource sharing service, which is the highest level. And then we have for our different Rapido offers, we have a specific DLR that can be used to hide in specific situations. So one thing that I wanted to give here is, if you're thinking, what are the relevant services that I need to think about when I'm thinking about my implementation of Rapido, or when, even if I'm live and for some reason I didn't understand this, these are the 4 options that are available and needed for you. Okay, now when you're implementing or thinking over this whole thing, let me just jump here because I want to go back. This is how a DLR looks like, and I just selected hide services with no criteria at all, so this is not really useful. But of course, I could decide, for example, that I want to hide the resource sharing request from all of my library, which doesn't make sense because this is why you have Rapido. So you use the different parameters to hide the Rapido offers. But what I think that will help when you're thinking about this is to ask these questions that I'm posting here are interesting questions, are questions also that I've seen come up in different ways. The answers are really vary. Like, for example, do you want to show the offers before sign-in? I've seen sites that do this. I like it. It's very upfront, showing the service, so no hiding. If you need to hide it from a particular user group, then it means that it will be hidden always, and only upon sign in the service will be shown. Well, if you let it be, they will still see it, and the checking will be only performed for those enabled. When they place the request, they will get the message. So there's a consideration here, but exactly that's why you have the questions, and you can decide what is better for your site. if whether you want to still show the Rapido offer if you own the service or the resource, or only if the resource is you own it but it's not available, if there is full text available, if there's a purchase request or a specific resource type. So these are examples of the questions. What I wanted to share with you today is a little story. Very interesting, actually. I think it's the first time I stumbled upon this, about a site that has the privilege, I would say, they were talking to me, they have the privilege of actually for physical requests, they have the privilege of purchasing everything that their students are requiring. So actually, the question here regarding the DLR is, what do I do, right? So they were asking me, should we leave the purchase request link on Primo VE and just show the chapters, the digitization of chapters as an option, which of course you can do via the DLRs. But of course, there's the option always with the very tight integration with Alma to, yes, offer the offer and then, you know, in parallel, mediate and create a purchase request, and that the resource sharing request go through, or cancel the resource sharing request. So it was a very interesting conversation. I was very happy to hear that there's a library that purchases so much for their users. It was fantastic. I actually felt that I wanted to go back to my studying days and actually go to this university. But in any case, just a little refresher, and also for those that are starting now, of the different questions that you should be asking yourselves, and actually maybe an opportunity, because really we have a growing community, that I think that anything that you do in terms of configuration should of course start always with a question: why I'm doing this, what I'm trying to achieve, and then with the different tools that we have, take the right decision. For example, the example that I gave you is beyond the display. It's our questions. Then you see that you have questions about mediation. You have questions about purchase request enabling, etc. So starting with a question on a particular workflow is, I think, the best way to approach a decision on a particular configuration or not. And this is why I'm bringing this topic again to you, also for those of you that have been live for a while in Rapido. With this, actually, I skipped to my thank you slide, and I think this gives us actually a quarter of an hour of asking questions or discussing things, so it's pretty good. And let me take a look at the chat and see if new things have popped up. Okay, Drew, I want to take your comment here, and I think you sent it to everyone because I really want to make use of it. The listserv versus Basecamp, okay? You mentioned here, is it confusing? It's a transitional thing. I do want to talk about it a little bit here. So Basecamp is a very cool tool, both for implementation. So each, as you know, each institution that's going through the implementation process has the possibility to has a Basecamp, and all of the communication with your implementer are done via Basecamp, and this is a cool tool for that. And it's also a very cool tool when you have development partners or early adapters, as we had a Basecamp for early adapters and development partners. And it was really, you know, it's a rich conversation, and the format is great, and you can keep it. The problem with keeping that Basecamp is that it became the private club of Rapido, which we of course couldn't continue since the community is growing, and also you know, it is something that's officially held by Ex Libris, while the listserv is something that's held by the community. So it's your list. You can talk with each other there and have all of the conversations that you want to do between yourselves, not only with us. So it is really, I know everyone loved the Basecamp. I love the Basecamp as well, but really we needed to, those of you that were in the Basecamp, encourage you to start using the listserv, so the other customers that were not in the Basecamp would get the benefit of your question. So what I'm shortly saying, I encourage you to use the listserv. I know it's a transitional thing to get used to it, but yes, use it, ask question, answer each other. I saw a question that no one answered. There was a question there about how is it for you to work in Rapido or something, or maybe it was an Alma. I don't know. It was a listserv in Alma. Probably I'm confusing myself. So, but I do encourage you to reach out privately or through the listserv to those of that are actually asking for help from the community, not from us, and use this tool. I think it's a useful tool. Okay. Okay. How does Rapido handle copyright clearance for articles? We typically pay copyright clearance if we borrow more than 5 articles that are newer than 5 years old from a given journal between a calendar year. Okay, excellent question. So just want to see, okay. Sam, thank you for asking. So the way to handle this is via the copyright rules. By the way, the rule of 5 that you're mentioning here is by default configured but not enabled in the Rapido for new Rapido users. And this copyright will enable you to select 2 different options. One option is just to mark those as copyright required, but let the request go, because you know that the document delivery service is super efficient. So you might just let them go and then you know, do your clearance afterwards via analytics, retrieving those that required that you're required to pay for. Or you can stop them for mediation, so you can check them and decide whether you want them to go or not. So this is a decision you need to make, but you can definitely manage this via the copyrights we have in Rapido. I'm sorry for jumping from topic to topic, but it's hard to see here the chat. And I see here a question about I didn't know there was a Rapido listserv. And yes, there is a Rapido listserv. I don't know. I'm trying to spread as much information as I can so that you guys know there is a Rapido listserv. I hope you know. I don't know who's asking here, but I hope you know where to go to get those to get the link. If no, I will try to post it somewhere so that that you can get to. It's where all the products are. So it's what is held by the community and where all the listservs where you can register are. There is a question about the resource sharing data the agreement. When will it be visible? So first of all, it will be from, you're not seeing that right now. It's from, again, it's from, you go to your standard Alma configuration. I gave the path, and I will, and you can check the documentation. It's also there. It's not related to VE. It's not related in general to Rapido only. So everyone has it. Everyone who has Alma has it. And you don't see it now because you're seeing only the benchmark and I think other stuff, because it's on the main release. So from next week, and if you're the first to jump, I don't know, you get a wow from me, but you will see this next week when the release is installed. Okay, so so this really is not available now, but it will be available next week. Oh, thank you. I think someone has sent me the link, so I'll try to post it to everyone. It's fantastic. Let's see if I can pick up the link and send you where you actually can, just a sec, sorry guys, but I do want to make available this link to everyone here. So I'm going to send it through the chat. Please register. Okay, I hope I did it. Don't know if I did it. I think I did it. I am under the name Adam Henderson. Okay, that's me. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you for supplying. Okay. What else, guys? What is of interest? It could be related to what I've presented, or in general. Maybe a clarification, something that actually was asked in the Rapido list. I just want to mention something that it's important because it's related to the directory. So there was a post, and thank you for posting in the Rapido list. It was a post about seeing the directory, whether for Rapido partners, it meant you're already in the directory by default. Would it mean that you will receive requests from partners, Rapido partners that are not part of your pods, and you shouldn't be receiving requests from Rapido. They shouldn't be able to send you a request without you both moving the partner record into the institutional tab. If you see it in the institution tab and you believe you haven't done anything, it's because at some point you did in some way created a request with this patron. So for Rapido, for this partner, with this partner. So for Rapido, yes, once you do a first kind of action with a partner in some way, okay, that you will see this particular partner in your institution tab. But if not, there is no, but again, they should have it, you should have it from both sides. There is, if you're receiving requests from someone, you shouldn't be receiving requests, and you've never created a partner record, you can open a case. But this shouldn't be the case, okay? I just wanted to clarify this. Anyone raising hands or more questions? Okay, yeah, okay. Holdings be findable via, wait, it's the end of the question or the whole question? Let's see. If you have joined the directory, should your holdings be findable via Primo? In general, there is no connection. When you join the directory, again, let's talk Rapido, okay? In Rapido, we have the global index. So everyone that's in Rapido, their holdings will be shown in Primo without any association to institution. There will be just discoverable, even a record that is held by an Australian, let's say an Australian institution. So maybe you're not part of an international pod at this time, so you wouldn't be making, doing resource sharing with them. The user will see the record, they won't know where it's coming from, but it's very good, okay? It's intentional. And why? Because we want our users to create the resource sharing, the borrowing request from a found record. So all of the metadata is brought in, and all of our efficiencies are found, and he has the best experience, and he doesn't have to fill in a form. Again, this doesn't mean that the request, the lending request, will land in Australia, okay? It will either not find a partner or stay there. With our future development, if this library is kind enough to sign the agreement, when you use the future development that we're releasing and you do the find partners part, you will probably see that they have it, and then you can start the conversation. But this is part of the global title index. It's not related to the directory. In relation to the directory, the only thing that you're doing is actually placing partner information on a central place where it's easily available without mistakes of typing or anything. The actual library that has the resource sharing information like address, emails, etc., is placing that information for you to download instead of creating the partner record by yourselves. So it's not really related to holdings. It's just relating to the peer-to-peer process. That of course we want to make it also easy for you, Rapido, and for ALMA members to do peer-to-peer. So it's also not a specific Rapido development. It's a more oriented peer-to-peer so that we can easily find our partners, and instead of creating the partner manually, download the information with accurate as provided by the actual institution and not you inputting the data. So not related to holdings, even though I do want to wrap it. The best experience for our future Rapido developments will be that this institution is part of the directory and that this institution has signed the agreement. So again, we have the way we designed Rapido and the way we intended it. You guys are already part of the directory. We see this community effort, so you don't have to do anything for being there. For the agreement, of course, we cannot agree for you, but we encourage also, of course, Rapido members to agree to give their agreement on the visibility of the holdings to other staff not related to Primo or end users at all. Okay. Thank you for the nice comments I'm seeing here. Okay, great question. There's a good question here. If we're in implementation for Rapido, should we wait to join the directory until we are live? So, you know, I'm kind of conflicted with this question, and I'll tell you why. Because the good part about Rapido is that the implementation is really, really quick. So you will soon find yourself in the directory, and I don't want to add more to you at this point. So don't think it's a must, but if you believe this is going to take, I don't know, usually it's really a short implementation process. We expect it to be up until 3 months. That's what we've seen. I always like to, maybe the people that I'm mentioning here are in this session, that we have a star customer that did the whole Rapido implementation in 2 weeks. It was really amazing to see that. So, you know, there's a whole spam. I would say that if you're seeing this happening pretty soon, you don't have to put yourselves in the directory. But since you're so active in asking this question, please ask your other friends to add themselves to the directory. Your other ALMA friends that are not yet in Rapido. That will help us immensely, and of course also the agreement. So again, as I always like to say, you're our ambassadors for changing the resource sharing landscape. So please push the message out, both the directory and also this new agreement. Excellent questions. Wait, there's another one, and I have a minute, so I'll try to answer it. Oh, this is a fantastic question. When non-ALMA institutions will be added to Rapido? Just asking for friends. Okay, of course, we have friends of many types, and with this I'll close this fantastic webinar. Yes, we are planning on having Rapido as a standalone, and we're already working on that. So this is of course a big task and a big focus, but we believe totally in it. We believe that we know there are consortia that are mixed, and we believe that Rapido is the right solution for a consortial model. Beyond the consortia, I know that there are other institutions that would like to see Rapido, even though they don't have ALMA. So a long answer to a short question, which is yes, we're working on that, and we hope to have news soon, but it's a big project. So we're working on it, but it will take a little bit of time. But yes, that's the intention totally. Guys, I'm leaving you a minute late, which is fantastic. I like to see my webinars finish at the time. Thank you for joining. I hope to see you soon, and thank you. Bye-bye.